We wanted to work with the idea of eye contact and the relationships it can often assume, because today eye contact is rarely even used in human relationships with all the technology that we have. Mm-hmm. And so when it is used, it creates an awkward situation rather than a form of communication, because people are like, oh, that person's looking at me, and then you're like, what do I do? Do I look away? Do I stay looking at them? I don't know. So yeah, that's what we decided to go with.
And we wanted to work with it in regards to kind of the need for attention, or just kind of talking about attention in general, because if you're looking at someone in the eye, obviously you've got their attention. So we wanted to show that through the use of red chairs, which we used quite a lot in our video, because they're quite bright and red.
Bam.
Yep, exactly. Bam.
Bam.
And if we were out in public sitting on red chairs, we had 10 or 12 dancers sitting on red chairs, then obviously that's grabbing the attention of passers-by.
And when we did film, heaps of people stopped to like watch what we were doing.
They pop into the background.
Yeah, they're in the video. So we definitely wanted to use the red chairs. Morgan was like set on using the red chairs, and I was set on doing the idea of eye contact, so we decided to do together after doing some of those exercises that Mark gave us in class of the blindfolding and talking about like our vision for the video.
And improvising, things like that.
Yeah, it actually really helps.
So when we started talking about our details, we sat down over coffee in the middle of the city because we went to check out our space.
Yes.
And we talked about our cast, and we cast our dancers into formations.
And we planned it all out so that we on the day of filming it wouldn't take very long.
Yeah, we wanted to just be able to smash out the filming so we didn't have to keep our dancers for too long.
So we came up with 3 key formations that we thought were really, because we choreographed based on the idea of eye contact and the idea of having chairs. So we came up with a line, like just a horizontal line, and
the idea of that one was to, we called it the bus stop phrase. Not that we actually told our dancers that, but it was to work with the idea of avoiding eye contact, so everyone's doing the same movements and looking the same directions, which consequently means that they're not making eye contact or looking at each other.
Yes, because personally, when I'm at a bus stop, I just try and look down at like my phone or like a book or something, and then we thought it'd be cool to create a piece of choreography where 2 people end up catching eye contact, and they're like, oops,
made a mistake, and then it's like a huge big deal, and everyone's noticed that these 2 people have looked at each other, because that's not usually what happens, and causes a big uproar, and everyone's like, tense!
And that's where the shaking comes in. I guess that portrays like the idea of nervousness with eye contact, which is kind of weird because it's just eye contact. Like nothing's gonna happen.
But we also wanted to have a boy and a girl as our main characters, so that, because we talked about how eye contact between male and a female can often be
different,
misinterpreted, I guess.
Yeah, and we wanted to make sure that these 2 people were seen as strangers and not like people who knew each other, because that could be a whole nother meaning in itself.
And we wanted over the course of the video for the eye contact to keep reoccurring, and for it to be like these 2 were just going about their day and they kept running into each other again and again and again, and each time they would stop a little bit longer and question why they keep looking at each other for a little bit longer.
So we wanted to represent the reactions of those moments and the assumptions that people have about eye contact. So we did this through 2 other formations. The other one was a heart, which Morgan so cleverly came up with.
Working with the opposite of the bus stop phrase, so it was keeping looking at each other for the whole time. So in our runway, they weren't allowed to take their eyes off each other, and same with the heart. They had to eyeball their partner the whole time. And we also wanted that to have some interesting reactions, natural reactions from our dancers, because they would, the longer that you look at someone, you're forced to keep your eyes on them. they reacted and
They get
had little giggles. We wanted to capture that, which we did in some of them, but they're quite subtle. So
even when we had the direct eye contact of each dancer with the camera, we just wanted their natural reaction. So some people like performed, but then some people, but like even the people who like put on a face to do the eye contact, like still broke character because they're like, oh, this is a bit awkward, like making eye contact with the camera.
We wanted to show that so that it was kind of a statement on the natural reactions of eye contact, I guess.
So, and then we had another formation which we called the runway, which was the two parallel lines.
Slightly more confronting than the heart formation.
Yes, that one. Yeah. This one we still went with the idea of keeping eye contact with your partner the entire time in the choreography, and that one was designed basically to like force people to look at each other, and I guess with the heart one, it's looking at how the distance between people can affect the way eye contact is received.
Yes, and that's why we had our main couple right in the middle, and they were closest to each other, and everybody else was kind of scattered around them, so that should they be looking at their partner, had a less awkward encounter than the two who were featured.
Yeah.
And with our heart formation, we did the flashing with the dancers running in and sitting in different seats, and we gave them an instruction that they weren't allowed to sit opposite anybody, so we'd have 3 or 4 dancers run in and sit somewhere in the heart formation, but they couldn't sit looking at somebody because the chairs were facing a partner. And we did capture it quite a few times when a dancer they'd run in and sit opposite someone and make eye contact, because that was what was supposed to happen. And then everyone would freak out, run around and get more frantic.
Regarding costumes, we decided to keep it pedestrian. We just basically told them to wear whatever they want, because we're just representing something that happens in everyday life, but we've just made it into a dance, I guess.
Bust up phrase, bust up clothing. I was actually quite surprised when we were walking through middle of town with 10 dancers with red chairs, right? So it's a bit strange. It's a bit different, and I thought it was hilarious. I was videoing it and laughing behind the camera, and people were just strolling by as if it was normal.
Yeah, because you find that like people who, I guess something strange like that, they're like, oh, just don't make eye contact, because if you do, then I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Nobody knows. We had to, when we had our little brainstorm over coffee, we had to be quite brutal with cutting out our ideas, because we had so many things that we wanted to film. But okay, the 5 things we came up with were relationships, club moves, eye contact, red chairs, and different locations. And we tried to think of something that would incorporate all of those things, but then thought that's probably a bit ambitious.
We realized that we needed to clarify our idea to just 2 things, which were eye contact and red chair. I guess relationships came into it, but
but just as a result, byproduct of the fact that you had eye contact, the need for attention.
I think we both had different ideas, but then once we like clarified it, we both had the exact same idea. As soon as she said red chairs, we were like, oh, like we have to use those, and somehow we need a reason why we're going to use those, because we can't just throw red chairs into something
just because it looks cool. We were actually quite efficient with our editing.
We spent,
we say so,
7 hours or something.
We one day I came around and we just sat down and did everything, 99% of it anyway.
Yeah, before our brains almost fried, hence the rendering montage that you saw.
The rendering.
We played around a lot with chopping and cutting and cropping and distorting people's faces.
We wanted it to almost feel like whoever is watching is being made eye contact with the dancers on the camera. So we almost wanted them to make the viewer feel awkward, because if they didn't know the people on the camera, then they might feel a bit tense at this making such
someone's looking at
me. Yeah.
Oh, we did make a few changes after we first finished the video, getting some feedback from Mark and Becca, with the flashing chairs and the formations. At first we just had it with just flashing formations of different people sitting in the chairs, but then we noticed that we had a couple of them running into the chairs, and we thought that was really interesting, so we thought we'd speed that up. And we basically got the dancers to make up their own count of 8, I think it was, and we gave them a direction to look at the end of their phrase, so that we were going to pan the camera. And this took quite a lot of practices, which we did practice everything in the studio before we went down, so that we would just get it done, and it actually turned out really cool.
Yes. We wanted them to pass the idea of attention and eye contact. So after they'd done the count of 8, they'd boom, pass it on to the next person through their eye contact.
So it's like bam.
Yeah, and it would set the next person's movement off. Our music, I found the track on iTunes, and it ended up being pretty fabulous because it had it actually has coughing and hiccups and pedestrian kind of sounds in the background, which was perfect for things like the bust-up phrase, and actually basically the whole thing, because it has awkward sound fillers, so when people are looking at each other and then they get awkward about it and they look away and they go has a bit of that in there.
And we wanted to, because it's quite rhythmic, and we toyed with the idea of not going to the rhythm, but we thought that it was more effective to go with the rhythm, which we did quite a lot in our video, just because I think, especially the bus stop phrase, having that part all in rhythm, and then all of a sudden 2 people catch eye contact, and it's this big massive deal that breaks out of this uniform kind of movement. It creates a moment of eye contact.
Yeah, and it's kind of frantic and almost portraying the idea of people's kind of busy lives interrupted by the eye contact that is unintentionally made.